Hello, welcome again to Modelers with their models. And I've got Jack.
I'm back again. So this is my Aoshima McLaren F1 GTR Longtail.
How nice is a Longtail? That's beautiful.
It's nicer than the short tail, that's for sure.
Well, there's more car there, and I mean, aesthetically, it is quite different looking, isn't it? Okay, so this is another one of the your models which has got opening panels.
Yeah.
And they sort of add a little bit of extra complexity, right?
Exactly, you got to add a bit more detail.
So with this, have you added anything, or is this straight out of the box?
It's basically out of the box. It's got photo etched seatbelt buckles and seatbelt material. But other than that, it's got the Top Studio carbon fiber set and then my own carbon fiber that I used on the interior and the engine bay. So the Scale Motorsport set was mainly just for like the panels, like the rear wing, the front splitter, things like that. So the interior was all carbon fiber I did myself, just from like normal decal shapes.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. I mean, that pattern really adds to it.
Yeah,
there's no way you can replicate that with paint.
Exactly, yeah. I probably spent like 20 hours just doing carbon fiber decals.
Fair enough.
It definitely was worth it, that's for sure.
There is a lot of carbon fiber on this particular car, because the whole car was basically carbon fiber, wasn't it?
Something like that.
Okay, so if you're not familiar with the McLaren F1, it has a central driver position.
Yeah, that's one of the unique parts about these McLarens, yeah.
And then we're looking at the seat belts there, which add quite a lot to the car itself. And how'd you find the build?
The build was quite a complicated kit. There were tons of parts. The box is a really big box for a car kit.
Well, you see, there's so many extra panels, right?
Yeah, but off the top of my head, I didn't have any issues at all.
Okay. Well, no issues is a plus too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then you can concentrate on doing all that extra detail that's in there.
Exactly, yeah. With these, like, sort of higher-end Aoshima kits, they generally fit together really well. So they've got their Lamborghinis as well, like the Murcielago, and they have a couple of Ventadors. They're all really good kits. They've got a ton of detail. Usually have opening doors as well.
And these are big, chunky, like brick-looking boxes, right?
Yeah.
Full of bits.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so there's a back end. And here you can see the difference with the long tail, right? So the short tail normally ends about here with the panel line. And this is the extra section they've added. And this was one they developed for Le Mans racing, wasn't it?
Yeah. So this kit in particular was one of the pre-season testing kits. So the decals that came with the kit were for that like sort of iconic black car with the squiggles livery, which is what they call it. I think they made like seven of those cars.
Well, the squiggle type of livery is like, it's sort of like a spy type thing, right? So you can't pick the shape.
It was sort of the idea was that it enhanced the lines of the car.
Oh, is it?
I personally don't think it really does, but...
Oh, okay.
But...
Yeah, because in the old days, you used to see spy shots of cars being developed, and they have this like a zebra scheme on them.
Yeah, it's not really the same thing.
Oh, no? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so this is all finished in orange, and orange is quite synonymous with McLaren, isn't it?
Yeah. So I really wanted to try and replicate Volcano Orange. So this was my most sophisticated paint job that I've ever done. So I can go through it. So I would have primed it with Tamiya Grey primer, then done a silver base. I can't remember what silver I used. It's probably just like a random lacquer silver. And then I went over that with Tamiya clear orange lacquer. And then I mixed clear orange with clear red to sort of give it a bit more depth.
You can see that coming through the different panels.
Yeah, exactly. And then over that, I sprayed McLaren Ventura Orange Pearl to add a bit of yellow to it. So it's got a ton of different tones that you can see depending on the lighting angle.
Yeah, so from that angle, you can see the yellow tone coming through on the bonnet.
Yeah.
And then where it's concentrated, you see it getting deeper.
Yeah.
And from my angle, looking to the front, it looks really deep. It's almost
really
on the
orange.
Yeah, it's heading toward the red side.
Yeah. Then Pro Scale 2K clear over that.
Pro Scale, okay. So you love your 2K clear, and we've discussed that before as well.
We've discussed many times.
Yeah, so 2K 2K is basically a two-part mix, right? It's an epoxy.
Yeah, so you've got to mix a hardener with the clear, and then generally you'll get 2K clear sets with some thinner, so you can thin it down, so you can sort of, spray it thinner or thicker depending on what you're painting and the finish you want.
And the advantage is you get this really lush, wet look.
Exactly. I guess the advantage of spraying something like this with 2K, and you don't have to polish it, because polishing this would be an absolute nightmare. There are just so many angles and so many recesses that you can sand through, which you don't want to do. You don't want to be sanding through your clear to paint down.
No, that's right.
Then you got to re-clear it.
I think we've all gone through that stage, right?
We have.
We had to fix it.
Yeah.
Yes. That's quite spectacular.
Yeah, definitely. I think probably my favourite car that I've built so far.
All right, so let's go through the process of the paint again. So you primed it, and then you did a silver base.
Yep.
And then we've got a clear orange.
Yeah, so it's basically a candy, an orange-red candy with then a yellow, or an orangey yellow pearl over that.
So the pearl would have been quite transparent.
Yeah, very transparent. It's very subtle.
Yeah, nice.
I think if I were to do this paint job again, I'd add a bit more yellow pearl. I'd go for something a bit more, not as subtle.
I think that's one of the hard things about trying to replicate colours, because you don't really know until you finish.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I didn't want to go overboard and ruin it, so I wanted to keep it subtle. But I think next time I'd add a bit of extra pearl.
Yeah, spectacular. Now let's talk about what was the hardest thing about this. Was it the paint job, or was it the construction?
I think they were all equally as hard, honestly, because the paint job was very sophisticated. I hadn't really done anything like that before.
Yes.
So the paint job was quite a challenge. The decals took me, as I said, I probably spent at least 20 hours on them, just on the carbon fibre. I did pull an all-nighter one day, doing the engine bay.
Because you want to make sure that your decals don't have wrinkles or anything in them.
Yeah, well, and getting it around all the curves in the engine bay.
Yes.
If you see, I'll point it out here.
Yes.
That was all one piece. You can sort of see there are a couple patches where it's sort of broken, but I did undercoat that with gunmetal, so you can't really tell. But yeah, the entire engine bay is done in carbon fibre.
Yeah, nice.
But the construction of the kit, off the top of my head, was really good. Everything just fit together really well.
Got some panel liner in there too?
Yeah.
I think that really adds to a car. There's quite a few, you see people building cars, they don't add the panel liner. But I think when you look at a real car, there's actually shadows in the panel lines, right?
I always add it. It just looks a bit weird without it. I guess
it looks a bit blobby?
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, exactly. That's one way of putting it. That's the problem with pre-built die-cast cars. They usually don't have that panel lines filled in.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's the advantage of doing it yourself.
Let's have a close look at the wheels. They're really fine too, aren't they?
Yeah. So I think on the real car, it's got covers that go over the brake rows. I think that's what Aoshima tried replicating there.
Is that why there's that odd asymmetrical venting?
Yeah, the vents. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, the front one's got that too.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, ton of detail in this kit.
Yeah, beautiful.
You can zoom in on the interior as well. There's quite a bit to look at on the interior. So
let's have a look.
I added a ton of carbon fibre in the doors, on the dash, on the instrument cluster.
Well, look at all those buttons.
Yeah, ton of buttons. I've even added flocking, because I believe I saw some reference photos that the interior
flocking.
was flocked.
Flocking in here.
Yeah, you can
in that panel there.
Yeah, and I think
let's go through the other side.
Sort of see.
So how did you do all those buttons? You just picked them out with a brush?
Are they painted? I honestly can't tell. Oh yeah, I think they're painted in silver. Yeah, you can see in the light. Yeah, right. Just with a brush and some Vallejo chrome, it would have been.
Okay.
I sort of tried adding some wires.
There's your 5-point harness.
Yeah,
you can really see it there, can't you?
Yeah.
So photo etch, there's a lot of detail there. Yes. Even quite a lot of parts.
Yeah, these do take quite a while, but once you get the hang of it, you sort of have an idea of how they go together, so it becomes fairly straightforward.
Okay. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, and this kit comes with window masks as well, so you don't have to try and cut the masks yourself to paint the black surrounds, as you can see
yes.
there. Yeah. There's not a ton of glass because the entire back is just like a carbon fiber panel.
Right.
Which I've taken off.
And these on the real car would have been perspex, wouldn't they? With
yeah, quite possibly. Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. And this is one of your favourites, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I'd say so, for sure. It's definitely one of the cars that I've spent the longest amount of time building and probably most amount of effort I've put into. But I think it was definitely worth it. I do have another one in my stash that I might do in a similar scheme, but we'll see.
All right. We'll be looking forward to that one.
Yes. You might see it sometime in the future.
There you go. All right. Good work, Jack.
Thank you.
So there we go. There's the Aoshima 124 scale McLaren F1 Longtail. Do they call it GTR?
Yeah, GTR Longtail.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. So thank you very much, Jack.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
There's more insight into how your models go together. So if you have any comments or any questions for Jack, please leave them in the comments below. And thanks for joining us again.
Thanks, guys.